All right, everybody, away we go. Welcome to today's call. It is Friday, May 15th of 2020, and this is the TRC Sales Training Call. My favorite day, Friday. All right, so we're going to get after it here today, and what I would say is what I usually do say. This call is far better when you send me some calls to analyze, or you give me an outside sales situation that you ran into, a negotiation, a listing presentation, dealing with a buyer, whatever it is. When I get from you what matters to you, this is a far better call. Last week was killer because I had all sorts of participation. Now, remember also, if you have been gifted internal access to this group by one of your team leaders, they're expecting and hoping that you would participate in this call and make the best of it, right? And I get it. Some of you are intimidated or you are shy, but I broadcast everywhere. I'm out there on Facebook. I'm out there on YouTube. I'm out there on Zoom or internally on Zoom where there's a chat box. I'll pay attention to that as we go along. But remember, if you send me things that matter to you, they will be dealt with here. There is nobody that gets priority. It's the person that asks only, right? So we don't cheat to anything. I just need something to, put my fangs into and we can deal with it, right? As they say, let's get after it, okay? So who's up first? Anybody have an anecdote for me, or has somebody sent me something I should be looking at or listening to? Let me know. Oh, you have to unmute yourselves too, because lots of people coming on this call each week. So I have automatically muted you all. So you will have to go in there and mute yourself. I do have Rebecca says hi. Aveen says hi. Hi.
Yeah, Rebecca had sent you yesterday a call where it was like maybe the third call. And I helped her with it, but I thought it would be a good call for you to share, especially with people that are talking to people the second or third time.
All right. So best to send it on the day of, so I don't have to scroll and look.
I know, I'm sorry.
Nope, I got it. She's lucky. It was a soft day yesterday. All right. So lots here. Rebecca, if you want to weigh in, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but if you want to, or just give me an overview of what I'm about to open up and listen to, that would be helpful.
Okay. Well, this call makes me nervous because admittedly, as much as I try to keep her on track with a seller questionnaire, this is the third or fourth time I've spoken with her, and she is very emotionally charged about selling her house because she had a very bad experience with her previous real estate agent. Okay. And she's very verbose and, like I said, very emotionally charged. So I guess my question would be, is how do I, without being too pushy and rude, how do I do better at steering the conversation and guiding her back to, a place of security and comfort? So
okay, well, it sounds like, let me go back a little bit. It sounds like let me back up. If we go backwards a little, hold on one second, just hold on. If we go backwards a little bit, what you're asking me is, was she too verbose? Or you mentioned something about her being too verbose. Did you sense that she was, let's go into the personality type. Did you sense that she was a high eye that wanted to talk a lot? Is that why you brought that up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
And your challenge there then subsequently is that you had trouble because you kind of mixed it towards the end there where you said, hey, but I want to see it. It was almost like, how do I calm her down? So I just want to clarify that's what you were trying to ask me. But really, it's like you're really saying, hey, this lady was out of control and I didn't know how to get her back in control. That's really the theme of what I'm hearing. That's the predominant, need for help here. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, good.
Yes.
All right, good. So let's deal with it. Yeah, Autumn, what were we trying to say?
And we don't have to listen to the whole call because she goes on for a while.
I bet. Okay.
I just want to say one thing. The way that the words that I use, that I've used for 40 years to bring people back on track is, I understand. Now, as I was saying.
Yeah, good.
That's it.
All right, good.
I understand.
Let's see where she could insert that. All right. So Rebecca, keep that in mind. What I like about it, it's acknowledgement. And now, you know, she just grabs it right by there. But you do have to acknowledge it's sort of like why this whole thing is working, where, you know, we're picking up the phone and we're making an offer that's about them. And then it's the, oh, by the way, you know, here are some other things that I think would matter. You know, let's talk about them. Right. So let's listen to this. Let's see how this goes. And we'll see where you could have inserted that. Keep that in mind where, and it's almost like there is a, like when you know you're losing control, you have to look for that moment to stop because they don't even know what they're saying. Take it from a guy who was earlier in his life way more high I than he was D, even though those are my two natural personality traits. And now I'm way more D, right? Because I don't have the tolerance for my own nonsense. So let's listen.
Hello? Hello, Rebecca. This is Rebecca again with Realty. I'm just touching bases to make sure you received the package that we mailed you. Yeah, we got it. Oh, you got it. Fantastic. I have a few questions for you. If you've got a couple minutes.
All right, hold on. That I wouldn't have done.
A couple minutes?
You hear that? I wouldn't have done all that. I wouldn't have done all that. I got to grab that piece right there. You're asking permission for something that you don't really need to ask permission for. You know, there was a guy that, you know, used to work at the company, and every single call he would say, did I catch you at a bad time? I mean, unless you sense that, why are you saying that? You know what I mean? So
because the last time I spoke to her, she was busy. And the time before that, she was busy. So I was just trying to be polite and kind of keep
but you know what? That, and again, remember, you biased me at the beginning of this call because you've given me the context that you lose control of her a little bit, right? So that you can keep her in a box. I mean, again, if somebody's given you permission initially to send this information out, and these are subsequent follow-up calls, we need to grab the bull by the horns. Because, you know, I don't know if you were on yesterday's call, but Gail will tell you she was totally moved by the call yesterday, as I have been. This is a prospects club. And Autumn can relate to this now, too, because 186 names is a waste of time, right? Because they're not real. So we go down to 111. Can we down to 78, 78, whatever? Get a real number of real prospects. And then what you'll find is that you're turning over to a lot of clients. I mean, bravo. I'll give Autumn, 5 gold stars in front of all of you. I think it's 6 commitments for listings in the last 10 days. Okay. So what we're seeing is that the more quality that she and Laura beat on that list to make sure that they really know every name on that prospect list so that when they follow up, there's a high probability that their relationship is building. I mean, you can hear it in Autumn a lot. Autumn will say on a relatively regular basis, oh, this guy likes me. Because she knows what's happening. That relationship is truly building and that there is a connection of trust. If somebody likes her, they're beginning to trust her. They're asking her for deeper questions, right? So what's happening is it's just more significant what's happening in that conversation. So I want you to understand that it's not about you winning every one of these, right? And so the more time we waste, I mean, this lady keeps blowing you off. I think what Autumn was saying is her technique for grabbing the bull by the horns. Hey, Dino, your car is really loud. Can you?
Yep, I just noticed that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm working on it.
I can see you through your steering wheel, too. I like that. So the point is, Rebecca, what Autumn was just teaching you of 40 years worth of getting yanked around by somebody like that, grab the bull by the horns, but do it respectfully, right?
That's what I was asking for.
I hear you snorting, Mr. Bull. Let me grab you by the horns. Now, where were we, right? So you recognize the snorting, but you're going back to now, where were we? Because I got a job to do, and that's to find out, are you going to let us follow up in a helpful way and ultimately let Gail in or not? Because if it's a or not, let's get it on the table now. See, I think we start beating around the bush, and that's where, what that is right now, Rebecca, you can hear it in what you do in this call. You start to beat around the bush with this lady by asking her all this permission-like stuff. And I'm actually, and Autumn's giving you the same permission. Go conclude this lady. You know what I mean? Don't let the tail wag the dog. Yeah. Go conclude this lady, and don't be afraid. And you're good enough and have been around long enough now and have trained long enough where we trust you. We trust your judgment in that moment. And you don't have to please Gail, myself, or anybody on this call. You just need to get the job done, which is, were you able to create a prospect who is willing to go there? No problem if the lady has had a really bad problem, right? I get
Danny?
it. Yeah, go ahead.
Danny?
Yeah.
Rebecca, this is where, as I said last week, you put your finger on the script where they interrupt you. Literally put your finger on the script where they cut in. Then you say, I understand. I understand covers everything from the dog not being fed yet to cancer. And I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just telling the truth. I understand, said heartfeltly. And then you say, now, as I was saying, and you go right back to your finger on the script and you pick it up.
Yeah,
you make it
perfect.
But Autumn, you bring up a thing that you also don't have to pull a punch on. There are actually really good excuses why people blow us off. I mean, I've had multiple people that had, medical issues, and that's a really good excuse to kind of beat around the bush and, blow me off. But if they still have a real need to sell,
right,
and maybe it's caused by that, they need a real guide who's got real leadership skills. So I'm going to cut in there and say, I hear you. It's awful. Does that change your need to move? Yes, I really need to get this done. Then I'm your guy, and you'll have to listen to me in spite of your struggle, okay? If you don't, I will leave you alone. It's sort of like a lot of you ask me about COVID all the time. How has that affected it? Well, I want you to think about this concept of prospecting, because that's the essence of what we do here, right? This is what we do. We prospect. When we're telemarketing or marketing, we're trying to find a lead. And then what we're trying to do is say, hey, wait a minute, we're in this lead, but we want to turn you into a prospect where we can enter a deeper level of trust, right? And that requires me to demonstrate that leadership in that moment. And also, it's my exclusive club with Autumn and Laura. Like, we're going to go all in for you if you're in with us. So all you have to do is tell us, does this sound like something that could really be helpful? Now, to get into this club, if it is your bare minimum requirement for us, you really need to have a reason to do something inside the next 12 months. And you really need to be motivated, because we're going to need you to listen when we climb Mount Everest. Or you can get blown off the side and we're all going to go down together. And we don't want that to happen. See, a guide is a strong leader. That's what they are. You guide me through the forest, okay? Keep me away from the werewolves. All right, listen to me. Do not step off the path, right? And that's really what this is about. And we have to stop being so apologetic about that, because quite frankly, the reason people do business with Autumn, myself, and Laura is because we are firm in our guidance. This is what it is. We have some flexibility. We care, but you're asking us to take you through something that's a big deal. So if you're not going to listen and you're going to throw a tantrum, even if it's a really good reason, we can't help you. We're not the right people for you, because we require a certain level of understanding, trust, and you have to let us lead. You can't keep telling us our job. You can ask us questions and we'll answer them, right? So you see where I'm going, Rebecca? You're ready for that next level that Autumn already understands because of so many years of doing it. Lead them. Okay, you're not going to break Gail's heart by having a cleaner prospect database. Believe me. Okay.
Totally.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And for you to feel successful, you want the ones in, because you're hunting elephant out there in Palo Alto. You need them to cross the finish line, as often as you can in a less frequent deal. Right. So.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Right.
Absolutely.
Here we go.
Okay. So after you had a chance to review the package, what did you think? Do you think that that'd be something that you'd be interested in?
See, this is very apologetic, and this is not the language. Like, again, it's going to be a common theme, I can tell. And I know you just got the message, so don't think I'm beating up the same thing. But let's just demonstrate for you and for everybody else where we hear this. This is super apologetic language, right? And you haven't done anything but help the lady. Do you think it would be? Look, we got the package. And, I was talking to Gail about the property, and Gail would love to come and take a look at it, right? Where's that?
Got it.
You know what I mean? Like, where
I
is
do
it?
try to ask her if she'd like to speak with Gail, but she says basically in this call, I mean, I don't know if we'll get to that point in it because it's later in the conversation. She basically said, I will speak with Gail if you contact her right now and come back and call me and tell me that she can guarantee to get me my price.
Okay, so you got an appointment for Gail. That's Gail's problem, not yours.
Right.
So great. Then
it just was hard to get there.
Yeah. Well, it was because you added all this. Like I can't even blame this lady at this moment. I don't even know where all this language is coming from, other than this feeling.
Partly because I can hear in the background she's making some food or something. She sounds very distracted.
Hold on. So. You're making excuses now for just not going forward. No matter what happens on the other side, you need to do your part. You follow me? If you start thinking that this is all in your head, and what's happening is it's manifesting in language. I hear an interrupter say, "Hey, is there some noise in the background? I want to make sure you can hear me." You know what I mean?
Got it. Got it.
I would simply rely on the fact that she answered the phone at all. If she's answering the phone, then
go forward.
It's not a big deal.
Just go forward. That's the way. How do you? I mean, if you don't think she's listening to you, that's another thing. Say, do you understand what I'm saying? Right? I mean, all think that in California, especially, you all think that's rude. And you listen to me in the East Coast. You say, well, that's your East Coast. No, I'm a leader. I could soften that if I was in some other environments. But what I'm saying is I'm appealing to this voice inside of you. We are creating a negative situation by adding all this nonsense.
That happens to me all the time, Danny.
Yep. Allison, I've heard you change your whole entire personality. Like you were talking like you were on drugs, right?
Yeah. Like, I know. Like I was like in slow motion.
Yeah. I'm like,
I know. I mean, you assimilate.
Yeah.
The problem about telemarketing is I've been doing that, I used to do it for years, is that you suddenly assimilate. And sometimes that works and sometimes that turns on, pardon my language, but that'll turn on a bullshit detector.
Yes.
So you got to be careful. Because then they're like, you're just,
No, you don't have to be careful until you have to be careful. Let me explain what
I mean.
Right.
I mean, like, don't do that.
But let me,
don't do that.
Let me explain.
Before you say it, Danny, I just want to say becoming friends with them is a mistake.
Absolutely.
It's yes.
Amen. I mean,
yes.
They don't want a friend. They don't want a friend. That's not the purpose. There's context here. And you're either going to go help them or you're not. And there's nothing worse than wimpy leadership. There's not.
Yep.
People think about, let me just emphasize a simple point here. This is the single largest financial and emotional transaction for most people in their entire lifetime. And it makes them nuts. And the last thing you need is wimpy leadership. Okay? I'm not saying that if you do luxury, there's not people that aren't involved in much bigger things, but they're still one of the largest emotional transactions. You could have a CFO, CEO, this thing, that thing, right? And you're talking to them, and then they get all weirded out because it's their home. So this is a call for leadership. So what I'm teaching you here today on this one particular instance is you better understand that telemarketing and going into a home, it's leadership. Somebody's making a decision. Am I going to allow you and your company to lead me through this major emotional and financial transaction? Yes or no? That's the judgment, folks. Okay? It's not always explicitly stated, but that's it. Do I believe you are the person that can get this done? I have heard from a couple of one-on-ones this week. I just felt that he was more enthusiastic about my property than you were. Some of my coaching clients at the mastermind level. I say, I still can't believe when I go into a home to give a listing presentation, how often I hear that. My gosh, thanks for being so enthusiastic about what I had. Last person came message, paint this, change this, do that. What is wrong with you people? Like, do you really understand what the difference is between complimentary service and insulting service? I mean, my whole approach is complimentary. I can see beauty in the ugly duckling for the investor. So if I tell you your house is beautiful online, you say, what are you talking about? It's a crap hole. Not for an investor, it's not. You see that land? You see those bones? Somebody's going to love it. So to me, it's beautiful because it's sellable. As long as you have a motivation and a reason to sell, I'm your guy. And I don't understand why you all don't see that. It's the most obvious part of guidance in leadership is that, well, oh, geez, I don't know. Mount Everest, it's pretty windy up there. You hit that first base camp, you get blown right off the side, and it's a pretty big drop. That's what realtors sound like every single day. Ask Autumn. She's stunned that when she picks up the phone, how underserved and how poorly served these people are by some of the most massive brands in the world. Okay.
Which I've nicknamed.
Yeah. Well, we won't name them here because we don't hurt anybody. But because I train them. Some of you are at those places, and I'm trying to give you smelling salts. Wake up. Okay. This is guidance, and guidance in its best form is leadership. It's firm, but it's caring too. And you have to learn how to balance the two. So Rebecca, your empathy to serve is clearly part of your makeup. Good. Hard to teach that if you don't have it. The next piece of it, though, is, look, I'm empathetic. Sounds noisy and everything there. If you could give me your undivided focus for 1 minute, I'll be off the phone with you.
Got it.
Period.
Yeah, that's the kind of language I needed. So
Period. It sounds busy where you're at. So it's okay to acknowledge it. But if you start to kind of pull back because of it, so let's just say this. Your awareness for her environment is appreciated by me. I like that. You're a heads up. But your methodology for dealing with it is not to all of a sudden become this weird, squishy version of yourself because you're losing her. You're actually causing her to act like that. I know it doesn't seem like
I see.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I follow you.
Yeah, see, there's the subtlety in it. And it sounds weird to say that because it's like you're doing a lot of the right things, but the minute you start to not be a leader, she goes off on a tangent because she does. Because she doesn't know where you're taking her. You see what I'm saying? So given their own perception and their own device of what's happening on this phone call, if they don't see where you're taking them on the phone call, they won't follow and they'll try to lead. And now it's a mess. But Autumn gave you a good sledgehammer to get everything back on, even if it's to hit yourself. I love her methodology. Is your finger on the script of where you're supposed to be? And you know how I feel about scripts. It's a beat and it's an accomplishment. Okay. So the first beat is, did I get permission to get the package out the door? Yes. These are follow-up calls. And what's the purpose of the follow-up call? To elevate the level of engagement, okay? To find out, why are you doing this? And how motivated are you to do it? I don't hear those questions.
No, I get there. Yeah.
I know, but why not go there first? What are you waiting for?
Got it.
Like it's already noisy in the background and you're stretching it. You're putting yourself on thinner ice by doing that. Why not just go, hey, look, it sounds busy where you are. And I know it was the last 2 times. Good. You acknowledge it. Done. In a beat. I just want to ask you. I didn't get a chance to ask you. It's a beautiful house. Why are you thinking about still selling it? Boom. Here's the reason. Okay. Great. On a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you? How come so low? Geez, that's pretty high. I think I should get Gail either out there with you or on the phone. Well, if you can get Gail here in the next 30 minutes and she can tell me she can get wonderful, what number can I get her at? You're done. You're done. You don't judge that for Gail. Yeah. You did your job on a difficult situation. You warned Gail. You said, look, it was a little bit of a tough nut to crack. Autumn does this all the time. Danny, you got to call this guy. He's a little bit of a tough nut to crack. So I'm just giving you a heads up. Here's what he is. You know what to do. And we've listed several of those basically over the phone. Okay. So we like Autumn can only go so far. She's like, I did my job. Here he is. I'm saying he's easy, but I got you there. Right, Autumn? Fair enough? She's muted.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes. I hear you.
Yeah. Well, you can think of Eddie, right? Recently. And Galuli, right? Both of those are examples of those guys weren't Gilman. None of those are easy conversations. One is listed. One is a week away from listing 2, and the other guy's a package and a month away from being here. But we're in the pole position. All of them not easy, right?
Right.
So, but we're there. You hear what I just rattled off, Rebecca? 3 situations that weren't easy. One listed, the other one coming on with both, and the third one, we have no competition at the moment. I know that because during COVID, nobody just did what we did, and he's not even here.
And to Rebecca's benefit, she did get a call. I mean, she was maybe at the 3rd call with Ravi. I talked with him about 15 minutes later. We're looking at whether we'll lease it or actually he wants to sell it. So he got in there, and I got the appointment, and I'm following up with him. I sent him information, and I'm following up with him today.
Awesome. Wonderful.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, bravo.
Thanks, Rebecca.
This is an incredible.
Thank you,
Rebecca. Your evolution is incredible here. But
I know.
I want you to write this down, though. And everybody that's listening to this, and I always give Gail and Rebecca kudos for being just so aggressively in the thick of this hunt here. You notice, I keep telling you, it's the people that push themselves to the front of the line that get everything in life. These are two of those women. Ladies, you should be looking at these two women as an example of how to push forward. Not that I wouldn't say the same for Autumn and Laura. I feed those two raw steaks every day. They're tigresses, right? So I'll recognize my own team here too. But bravo, ladies. You're first in line every week, and that's why your evolution is so fast. Paul can't too. The same for you and Sam. Like there's just no surprise when you push yourself to the line to push yourself to become better. Rebecca, it's 5 gold stars, but write this down. The snapback effect, okay? The snapback effect is that thing that Maxwell Maltz talks about that pushes us, okay, backwards to an older version of ourselves. And you need to be fully cognizant of that, right? Okay, meaning it's highly likely that you will snap back to that kind of squishy thing, even though you know better. So remember the word lead and conclude. I need to lead them to the conclusion of getting Gail in there, and I need to cut out all the fat. And I need to take control of the conversation when I'm losing it. And the way that I do that, I hear you, and here's where we're at. So by keeping your finger on when they go off, like Autumn said, an excellent technique. Have you accomplished the first beat? Are you on to the second one? Where are you at? So that when this lady confuses you, there's no snapback effect to some weird, squishy, non-leadership version of yourself. Got it?
Yes, absolutely. Brilliant. And thank you guys.
Well, thanks
I
for
really
giving us,
appreciate it.
Thanks for giving us the thing to chew on, because it's easy and you can hear it yourself instantly, right? You can hear it. There's no reason. And there's no reason to keep going through this call. It was achieved within seconds. Otherwise, we'd just be beating on the same thing where you've learned the lesson. So keep your notes, though. You know what I mean? Don't just come here on the call and hear it and then not, memorialize it like I always say. You want to put it down somewhere where it's locked in and you own it. Okay?
It's on a post-it already. Thank you so much.
Yeah, bravo. Bravo to you and Gail. All right, Paul Cantu, I saw something come in from you. Let me just...
I sent you 3, the one that we talked about on Monday, that you wanted me to send you for this call specifically.
Yep.
And then 2 more that she got this week. She has been able to come back in a limited capacity. I'm still looking for not a replacement, but an addition in case her situation doesn't change dramatically and she can't be, 20 hours a week.
Okie dokie. Let me go in here and check.
So the last one was the one from Monday that you wanted me specifically to send. And then the other 2 are this week.
Refresh me on the context. I'll play that one first.
That was the one that she called April 28th. I was supposed to call May 3rd for follow-up. The mistake she made was that she didn't confirm the address, so it went to the wrong house.
Oh, yeah.
The guy's super ready to sell, and we've subsequently resent it to him. I talked to him yesterday. He received it yesterday, and we're talking again at 2 o'clock, and I'm very confident that I'm going to be having a in-person meeting with this guy this weekend.
Yeah, how much is the property worth?
I think it expired at 9:25 or 9:50.
Everybody paying attention to what he just said? Yeah. Okay. Because Sam lives in Mexico City.
Actually, Mexico, state of Michoacan, but no different.
Okay.
Just south of Mexico, about 4 hours.
Okay. So she lives in Mexico, and her command over the language, English, is not as good as a lot of yours, and yet she's this effective. You understand what I'm saying? Because it took a long time for Paul to keep beating on the language, getting it right, having her understand it, because she too, like I mentioned to Rebecca, had the snapback effect from having been trained in a methodology that was more barbaric and pushy and voluminous and transactional. And here she is making the adjustments within a short period of time, and he's that close to listing a $900,000 property, which I know where he lives. That's about a $27,000 event. So I hope you're all paying attention to this stuff, because it's just not rocket science. But if you go outside the boundaries of what it is, you put yourself at risk. I can't protect you outside the boundaries. I can within, then it's my problem, okay? So what I wanted to emphasize, one of Sam's weaknesses is still that snapback effect to speed. She goes through things too quickly, right? and she says things too quickly, and she was forgetting the beats. And one of the things that she needs to slow down on is verification of address, because this could have been a lost event. And it's similar to what happened with us not training Autumn well enough to slow down about the Infusionsoft piece to make sure follow-up was there, because there are houses I got into that our follow-up was less than solid afterwards. So you have to understand that one of the best methodologies is to slow the dang thing down. You don't need a lot of people to do extremely well. You need to prospect enough people who are interested in what you're doing and serve them well, and then there's no competition. It becomes a competitionless lane. And the reason is because people need to make a choice, and they need to take a chance at some point. And it's the further down the line you get to service somebody, the less likely they are, presuming you're doing it properly and in, you know, in an informative, encouraging way, the less likely they are to start all over again. That's sweat for somebody, and nobody wants to cause themselves that kind of stress. Okay. But she zipped through this and didn't verify the mailing address. You can hear she go, oh, I don't even know how she was writing it down. It was so fast. So it was ironic that Paul said this. So I wanted to hear it from myself. So here we go. Okay. Let's open this up.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, is this Alexander?
This is. Hi.
Hi, this is Sam from Cantu Group Real Estate. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Yeah. How about yourself?
Okay. See, there's a snapback effect. I say this all the time. Stop doing that. Like Autumn just said, they're not looking for a friend. It works here. It's Seattle. He's polite. She's got a wonderful voice. There's just no need for this, right? Because this is supposed to be a professional call. How you doing today? Okay. It's a courtesy, and I appreciate it, but we're not walking down the street smiling at somebody. This is business. She needs to get this information out to him. Now, again, you hear week after week from Canada to the West Coast, people are forgiving. You start doing that on the East Coast, you get smoked. Okay.
I've had it happen East Coast, West Coast. Asking how someone is doing is always a crapshoot.
Yeah.
If you can get away with it, you go ahead, but I don't suggest it. You just go right in and don't waste their time.
Good point. If we knew it would work every time, you would absolutely do it, because it's very engaging language. But because you don't, like she just said, get the damn 4 or 5 lines out that tell them what's in it for them. Because that's what the purpose of this is. Okay, let's keep going.
So,
I'm great. Thanks for asking. See, I'm just giving a call because we saw your beautiful home online and we noticed it didn't sell. So we wanted to send you something that will help you sell it the next time. May I do that?
Sure.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. May I confirm the best address to send that to?
It's Alex. Mm-hmm. Oh, do you have the email already?
No, I haven't. We're going to mail it, so I have your mailing address. It's 10709 Interlake Avenue North. Is that correct?
Right now the house is rented. Is this a real estate company, or are you a developer?
This is a real estate company.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so we can send that to that property, or is there a better address we can send it to?
How about 11547 30th Ave East?
Okay.
And
all right.
That's, yeah.
Okay. See there, I skipped while he was saying his address. You see the point? Oh, all right. It's like, where are you going? You didn't even confirm what you just heard. I mean, well, you're believing that you have this I don't know, photographic, ear or a photograph. Well, that doesn't make any sense, but you have this perfect ear or a photographic memory that you see a picture of his address and you do it, you don't confirm it. That's why I'm saying it should have happened, right?
She should have confirmed it, because right when he said the address, it turns out it's 36th Avenue Northeast, not 30th. But right when he said it, the phone got muffled, and she assumed it was 30th.
Yeah,
but it's 36. So she should have repeated it back to him.
Yeah, and like I say, we're dancing. I have a pin for all of you. I want to hear it, but you can hear what I'm saying is like, where are you rushing to? It is so dang hard, number one, to get people to answer the phone. It's so dang hard to make the right offer and get it accepted. And you get that far and you rush. I want to ask you all, where are you going? Where are you going? Like you get that far and you're in relationship within 30 seconds and you're rushing, right? And this is why, and I'm not going to go into the rest of the call, Paul, because it's a moot point. But the point is, a mistake was almost made. That was a $27,000 potential mistake. And I can't emphasize that piece of it enough. We always want to try to eliminate ourselves in the service business as the problem. Okay? That's what you're trying to do. You want to eliminate yourself. And you do that by slowing down. There is no hurry. There's no race here. In fact, you might spend a whole day and get barely anybody to answer, but you get one good one, it's a score. You're panning for gold. And especially when you start to get to places like Palo Alto, where the number of transactions are thinner, not that Sam and Paul are there, but I mean, the point is anywhere where it becomes harder to get these people and you get them and you make sure you're clearly expressing the beats. Wonderful. Let me confirm that address for you. It's blah, 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 right? Great. I'm going to get that out to you, and I'll call you next week to make sure you're, it arrives. It'll be helpful to get it to you. Now,
in other words, don't make them do any work.
Amen.
Be of service.
Nothing. If they have to think too much during this situation, shame on you. And that's what I meant when I was, critiquing Rebecca's thing. If we cause them to think more because we begin to stretch it out, then they're getting more confused and they take over and run in 19 different directions. He's already trying to clarify, well, what are you, a developer or are you a real estate company? But see, because she made the right offer to begin with, but this is where all that, hey, how you doing? I don't care what anybody says. My belief system says that was filler that didn't need to be there, that gives him a little confusion. I'm not saying he still wouldn't have asked the question if she didn't do that up front about whether this is a developer or a real estate company. I don't know that. But I'm saying all that extra nonsense that is non-business, okay, is going to...
Yeah, that's it, Danny. Yep. It's non-business. When you say, hi, how are you? You're like you're talking to a friend.
It's not business. And it's
right.
it can almost, like, I like what Autumn said, it's a crapshoot. If it works, it's really nice, right? But why? Why are we taking that kind of chance at all anyway? We're not calling to say, do you need a friend? This isn't the help, the help, the psychological help hotline. It's not. It's not.
Well, another thing, Danny, that I learned is to never say that because it gives them an excuse to go ahead and take that and run with it.
And hang up. How about just hang up? How about just they hear that and hang up?
Yeah, exactly. It's their time to hang up. They're like, do I know you? And then they feel deceived, so you don't want to do that.
I'm with you. Me personally.
Hi, this is Allison. I'm calling because. I'm not calling because I'm asking how you're doing. I'm calling because I saw your house, you know?
Yep, cool.
It's confusing.
I kind of agree and don't agree. I mean, I think that perfectly that you should just go straight into the script, and this is going to sound, and I don't mean it to sound, it helps that she has a very pretty young woman's voice. I don't know how that comes off, but I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, it does. I agree. I think women do this job, 20 times better than men, period. Okay? Like, where I stand in this. Sorry, guys. We're just not as good as they are because they sound more engaging and empathetic naturally. It's a woman's way, okay? So you have an advantage. I know everybody's going to yell at me about, being sexist or whatever. I'm old school, okay? I see men and women. That's what I see. And I see a woman's voice is nurturing and the way they are is nurturing. And I love to do business with women because they're so much better than guys. So I want a woman on the phone for the reason you said, Paul. But I don't want that woman saying that because I think that effect comes across anyway with the business language. You don't need it. It's filler. There's no benefit to it in my mind's eye because she still says, Paul, this is Sam calling from Griffin Realty Group. The reason I'm calling is because I saw your beautiful house online and I noticed it didn't sell. If you're telling me, Paul, that they don't catch on to her feminine way and softness with those words, then you're not listening to recorded calls. I'm saying that.
No. I'm with you 100%. That's all I'm saying is that she doesn't even need it because you hear these guys are all probably in their 40s or 50s, for God's sakes. They're talking to a young woman with a pretty voice. You can hear you can hear them like be very, very receptive very quickly to the call.
No doubt.
So,
No doubt.
you know,
It's a trigger, but I want her to be professional because Cantu Realty Group is professional. So I don't
It's
need
an addition. It's an addition to the business. I mean, if you have a beautiful voice, I mean, I've had people think I'm a man for crying out loud. Okay. But I'm just saying, she does have a very pretty voice. Let her speak business language because that voice is an asset to her. And that's why she's good on the phone.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. All right, let's move off of that, Paulie. What else? What's next? Good job, everybody.
Go ahead.
Thank you, everybody, for weighing in. Go ahead.
You want to grab one of the other ones that are both this week's after she came back from,
Yep.
I didn't think she was going to come back at all, but she's come back in limited capacity and already banged out 2 packages and 2 shifts.
All right, here we go. Got a couple more here.
Hello. Hello. Hi. Hi. Is this Feng? Yeah. Hi. This is Sam from Cantu Group Real Estate. I'm calling because we saw your beautiful home online, and we noticed it didn't sell. So we wanted to send you something that will help you sell it the next time. May I do that?
By the way, really good. Like, there's a point, because now we go to the next call, and she's over the time. This is her evolution, like Rebecca's. You can hear it. She has slowed down. She's not. It's a beautiful pace. To like Autumn just said, her asset is this beautiful tone to her voice, and this is woman to woman. It's really pleasing to listen to her say what she just said. Wonderful. And she doesn't have all the fillers. And I'm only 25 seconds in. I don't have all that extra, right? And in the beginning, there's a little bit of confusion about getting the person on the phone, but she does it, and it's just so clean. Let's see where she goes from there.
You send me what?
Okay, good. Finally, a challenger. You're sending me what? Now this will be interesting to see if Paul has taught Sam the value of the package. And this is what I say to all of you. You really, 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 really need to understand the value of what you're sending them, that there's tremendous value in it. Okay? So here we go. Let's see how well she understands it.
We're mailing a list of properties with pictures and details that sold in your price range while you were on the market. And we're also including a copy of our 7-step listing plan.
So clean. I'm 39 seconds. I can't find a thing wrong with this call yet. Okay? Like, this is perfect. 39 seconds. This is textbook. Let's see where we go.
And it would be via the mail. Sure, you can send me.
See, it's hard to say no, isn't it? She's reluctant, but it's really hard to say no. Let's keep going.
Okay, may I confirm the best address? Is it 1054 1 23rd?
Okay, let's just skip a little bit through that.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So I'll send it over. In the scale from 1 to 10, how motivated?
Okay, 1 beat. Finally, she misses something. I'll call you next week to make sure you get it. Put a bow on the first beat, okay? Because now she's going to go into this other piece and it's out of order. It's best practices to finish the beat. Wonderful. I'll call you next week to make sure you get it. Hey, by the way, now I go on to beat 2, because you just want to be she's been just fabulously perfect up to this point. And this is just my personal preference, that you all get your follow-up call set, okay, in the context of this package. Great, you said yes. Let me confirm the address. Wonderful. I'll call you next week to make sure you got it. Boom. Now follow-up is secure, okay? So if nothing else comes of this first call, I have a follow-up that's clear. The timeline is clear. And I have, even if I don't get anywhere else with her, or somebody's in a hurry, but they give me a real yes, that's a nice clean block. And I own follow-up. I go into my database. I book the time for next week. I can call it the prospect light. And we probably have to talk at the mastermind level about what that is, because she's not really a prospect yet until we go into these next questions, which she's going to try to get right now. So let's listen. But I would have said, I'll call you next week to confirm you got it. Then did this that she's about to do.
Are you to sell your house? I don't know now. Okay. And it looks like a nice property. Why were you trying to sell it? Because I move out. You wanted to relocate to another place? Yeah, and we already have a new home.
Boom. Huge. Turn the alarm on. We already have a new home. Now, I want to see how aware she is, because sometimes Sam, in that transactional mentality, starts moving and she's not hearing this. The alarm should be going off. You already moved. Okay? So now, again, the way Paul has set this up, we're not expecting a lot more from Sam than that. I would expect more from Autumn, because Autumn is local. She's with me. She's a pro. She could close that lady for an appointment right now for me. Whether it's on the phone or in the house, we're doing both these days. Whatever we can get, we take. Right? Autumn, fair enough?
Yes, fair enough. And all of the listings we've gotten have been phone appointments.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that true? Well,
and not even Zoom.
Yeah, well,
just phone.
Right. We started with phone. Ed actually came to the office with his wife, and we did the math.
Oh, right. But the others are all phone.
But you're right. It started with phone appointment. Ed did too.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's see where this goes, because I'm almost out of it here. So I want to see what happens at the end.
But we're not in hurry. Okay, I completely understand. All right, so I'll send you that, and I'll call you in a week just to make sure that you received it, okay? Okay.
All right, so not bad, because we know she's limited, Paul, right? Like, we know. But like, Sam is never going to be what Autumn's skill set is. So you got her to the point that, like, this is a successful call. She has identified something. Now tell me, what is the system to close the gap where you hear that? How quick? Because I know there's been a delay. That lady is not living there, it sounds like. Okay? Little bit of a language barrier, but I got clearly she's not living there. How quickly did Sam get this call and then alert you that the lady wasn't living there? Or did she?
The call session was last night.
Yep.
She Facebook messaged me at the end of her shift at 8 p.m. and let me know she got it. I called her, or I texted her and said, "Can I call you?" And I did, and we listened to the call together. And so we listened to it together last night. It'll be in my new ISA lead queue today. The package will go out today, and the callback will be scheduled for me for Tuesday. And it's going to stay in the new ISA lead queue until then, uncalled until Tuesday when the package should have arrived.
I don't agree.
Okay?
Yeah, I don't agree. Because there's this white hot reason. Okay? She got you a white hot reason. So I think when you're bubble sorting stuff, it's a white hot reason, and you're really good. So even if you just end up confirming the package would go out the door, this lady potentially doesn't live there.
She doesn't.
You could hold on. You could potentially close for a property visit. Hey, I was talking to Sam last night. We're sending you out the package of information, but it sounds like nobody's even living there. Can you clarify for me, have you moved from the property already? Would it be possible for me to swing by and take a look at it? You should close yourself an appointment well before Tuesday.
Well, I'd call her today then.
Amen. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, I think one of the things I try to emphasize, especially to Laura, as Laura replaces me in a lot of what I do, I want you all in the outside sales to listen to this closely, okay? When there is a real reason or a real moment, you do not delay a nanosecond, okay? I might sound like a lunatic to Laura, but there's a reason I'm successful in this business. When I know you have a real reason, and I know there's a closable moment, and I know that you need me to tell you what to do in that moment, I'm going to tell you what to do in that moment. Or if I have an opportunity to serve you, and I'm not going to wait for competition to have 5 full days at you like that. It's not going to happen, right? It's just not. So
okay.
I can't.
I'll text you and let you know if I get the appointment.
Yeah, I can't emphasize, or at least take over immediately. Okay.
I gave up on that whole idea of her building her own funnel. I mean, if she gets it this far, it's mine.
She's out of tarmac. I would never have her make that kind of a follow-up. She's done. She has done everything she can possibly do there. You can hear her run out of steam, but she is fabulously successful in 1 minute and 38 seconds. How much is this property worth?
I mean, I'll text it to you in a sec here. I gotta find it. Oh, it's here it is. I have it actually right here. Contact details, Yui Han. Oh shit! This one expired at 2,680,000.
How much? Say it again.
2,680,000.
Everybody paying attention? Yeah, is everybody paying attention to this call today?
I didn't even look at that yesterday.
I hope all my eavesdroppers out there in La La Land on YouTube and Facebook. Is anybody listening? Like, are we listening to this? 1 minute and 38 seconds to say the right thing, and then to not be aware of that and let 5 days go by. Take this friggin' accordion and squeeze it down, okay? Like, this is not a rocket science business when you understand how it works. You need to move swiftly and properly, and this is the kind of good opportunity you can create. All right, let me get.
It's a multi-family. I didn't even realize that.
There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Okay, next. One more for you. Let's listen.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Hi there, I was looking for Mr. Han.
Who is?
Yes, this is Sam from Cantu Group Real Estate. How are you today?
No.
Who is this?
This is Sam from Cantu Group Real Estate.
Just say what you have to say.
Oh, I see. Are you Sam?
Yes.
Go.
Yes.
Speak, go.
See, I was just giving you.
Here's the difference. We accomplished everything we needed in the first beat in the last call in 28 seconds. I'm 20 seconds deep and she's babbling because there is a real problem with language barrier, okay? Or his ability to hear, either one or a combination of. Just say what you're supposed to say and give him a shot to understand it. Not this tennis match about who? Yeah, Sam. Who? Yeah, Sam. Well, you're adding to the confusion because you won't take the bull by the horns. Here we go.
Call because we saw your beautiful home online and we noticed it didn't sell. So we wanted to send you something that will help you sell it the next time. May I do that?
That takes 11 seconds. 26 to play tennis and 11 seconds to perfectly articulate why she's calling again. Perfectly in 11 seconds.
Actually, thank you. Yep.
Thank you. Like, see what I mean? All that tennis, you make an offer. Yeah, thank you. Again, he has a language barrier. You can hear English is not his first language, but he understood. See, instead of giving him a chance to understand this line earlier, she plays tennis over nonsense. And so now she gets it out in 11 seconds, and he says, yes, thank you. I'm 44 seconds in. Okay, let's keep going.
Okay, yes. So may I confirm the best address to send it to? I have it here. It's 970 Northwest.
Yes. Yep.
All right, perfect. And it looks like a nice property. Why were you trying to sell it?
We just want to retire.
You want to retire and maybe get something smaller?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see what kind of information you have. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, he's done. He's done. Okay, so she couldn't go further with him, but send me what you have, right? So now he gets it. He gets a chance to see it, and this is one that I would wait, right? They just want to retire, so it's not like I moved out or I'm not there or whatever it is, right? So Paul, I think this is one of those get the package out the door, put it in your ISA queue for Tuesday, and call them then, because you don't have the same prioritization based on the information she's able to achieve, right?
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think there's a beat that was missed before she went into you want to get something smaller, because it was obvious that he started to feel like he was getting, his brain was being picked.
Yep. He got more protective. You're absolutely right. The rhetorical yes to yes, send me some information. That'll be helpful. Thank you. But he's more cautious. So it's good to hear the differentiation. So we're still in Seattle, but here's an example of someone who's like, whoa, wait a minute. You're asking me a few too many questions here. Yeah, you send it. See you, bye. Okay. So So he wasn't comfortable with her asking those questions. And I would say Autumn's probably right, you know? And so she got the answer, you know, and again, she like, you know, she was running out of tarmac. I don't think there was much she could do there. And I think she's still effective. Package goes out, Paul, but that's a prospect light. So when you
But
call,
I think she should, like you said, tie it in a bow.
Yeah.
Say, may I follow up with you in a week or whatever?
Yeah.
To-
Not
to
even
see that she received it.
don't even ask, you know, a question. I'll call you next week. Yeah, I didn't even catch that. That's
Okay.
right. He says yes, and she doesn't say I'll call you next week. So you're right, Autumn. You picked up on that. The beat that I missed was the obvious one. Tie it up in a bow. I'll call you next week to make sure you got it. And he would have just said yes, and you could probably just move on. See, if we feel that there's more opportunity there, and that's ladies, men, whatever, we all have a little intuition. You can intuit whether this person is open to some more or not so much. Okay. So in this case, not so much. So let the package do its job. It's the benevolent Trojan horse. In comes this benevolent Trojan horse package. It arrives at his home. It opens up. It professionalizes you. It gives him those pictures and details of properties that were like his that sold. It gives the plan, and it gives some instructional stuff on what to do. He gets a chance to digest it and read it himself. And then a subsequent call comes in, and we make a final decision. Is he, well, this is going to sound weird when I say this, but is he worthy of entry into the prospect club, right? Meaning, is he willing? And does he fit the criteria? Is it a good match for the club, right? I know it's our privilege to get a club member into the prospects club, but he has to fit the criteria or we can't let him in. Otherwise, we're killing our business. So that gives Paul two wonderful opportunities. One is clearer than the other for a massive amount of money. The other one that you heard before that, he's pretty dang close to closing the deal. Because remember, like Paul, you probably don't sense that there's much, if any, competition on the first guy at 9 and change. Yeah?
No.
Okay? See what I'm saying? Like, I think we all have this perception that there's so many people out there that are so amazing at business that they're doing all this. Tell me where they are on Fridays obsessing over this kind of detail. Tell me where they are, right? So stop acting as if the world is so good at business and just be good at it yourself. And I think what you'll be shocked at is people like Autumn, you were shocked. They are wildly underserved. Serve them. Finish the beat. Call back. And not everybody, even after you sending a package, is going to be a fit, but at least you're in a line. And by the way, this applies to any type of lead on online home evaluation. A referred seller that you don't know, but you have to go through this process with. It's the same thing. Gail, this is Danny Griffin calling from Griffin Realty Group. Kevin told me that you were thinking about selling your house. So I wanted to give you a call and just figure out, what's happening. How come you're trying to sell the property, right? Or where is the property? Tell me a little bit more about your situation. It's the same essence, because then I can say after that referral kind of, initiation, Gail, let me tell you what I think I should do. Let me send you a package information. I'm assuming you're living at the property. Is that right? Yes, great. What I'd like to send is some information that will help you sell it. Okay. And I could even go in further because he's referred. What's going to be included is a snapshot of properties that have sold around yours recently. And then there's my plan that's in there that I would customize for you, because it sounds like you're in Florida and you won't be coming home anytime soon. Let me get this information out to you. Okay. You get that. I'll call you next week, and then we can follow up from there. So now what I do is I've professionalized that context. I don't have to run down the hill, put her in a headlock unless she tells me I'm ready to list over the phone with you, right? I vet the situation, but I'm always prepared to give the same information, the pre-listing information that sets up what I would talk about on the phone. Like Autumn said, we've closed them over the phone because they sent the information. I refer to it with or without Zoom, depends on how sold they are already by the package itself. I don't need to oversell it. I can cut straight to the chase on pricing, commission, etc., based on what I have. All right, final bonus section call, because I'm at 2:00 and I'm pretty much done, but I'll go to a Q&A. Anything we talked about today, or anything like if you have an outside sales dilemma or a question, I'm going to unmute everybody. If you're in a loud spot, please mute your mic, but I'm going to unmute everybody so I get a final call. Okay?
Yes, Marlon.
That was a mistake. Okay. That was a mistake. That was a mistake. Shouldn't have done that when there's too many people on the call. All right, Georgie Mutard, I saw you pop up there. You want to ask me a question? No?
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. I got a new headset, so I was making sure. I'm just, you were getting back to, when we were talking about a lot of these calls, you talk about the East Coast, West Coast. The beautiful thing about the melting pot here in Florida, I run into all of them. And I found out real quick not to say, how you doing? I had a New Yorker explain to me how he was doing and then lost the call. It was not good. I had family from New York, so I didn't take it insultingly, but he just laid into me.
Yeah. Be careful of New Yorkers.
Yeah.
Hold on. Go into this. What did he lay into you about?
I asked him how his day. It was just one of those. I fell back, and instead of moving forward, I'm like, this is Jordan Muthart.
Good.
How you doing today?
Good. I'm glad he gave you an ass whooping.
Right? Oh yeah. I haven't done it since.
I'm glad. I'm glad. I am.
Yeah. Me too.
I'm dead
Me too.
serious because it's a
got
way.
my patty smacked and moved it. And like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Look at.
That's how we learn.
You need edgy people to keep you in line. If you get soft, you get lazy, right? Yeah. And it's good news is I'm edgy, right? And that's why when I hear these soft calls from Canada or the West Coast, I'm like, be careful, because you could be losing somebody. They might be more passively aggressive, dumping your tail out of their life, right? You don't know. So you have to be very careful to make sure you stay professional all the time. This isn't a casual conversation. We're talking about, I don't care what size the listing, okay? Let's just talk about it. So if somebody owns a $95,000 double wide and they want to sell that, George, and you don't talk to them professionally, shame on you. Right? You have to be respectful of the fact that these people have this financial transaction. If you walked into, Charles Schwab, with you killed yourself to save $30,000, I would expect that broker who meets you at the door treats you like it's the $3 million client who walked through. So every single time, it's the standard of professionalism that we're teaching here. And so what I'm trying to do is keep you professional. And I think one of the themes I would wrap this call up with is this. There are always good excuses out there, our own and theirs, always. Like we touched on something very touchy, illness, especially cancer. I have dealt with a lot of people who have cancer, whether from a coaching standpoint or I'm guiding them, to buying or selling a house. And it is a really good excuse to be overly emotional and lose your way. But I am not afraid to lead somebody that's in that spot. Say, I hear you. I hear you. And as a human being, I'm sick for you. But you need me and you need to listen to me. And this is what we're going to do. Because at least I can get some of the stress out of your life about this moving situation. We good?
Amen.
We good? Right? And that's what I say. We good? Because I'm your guy.
I like it.
Right? So just don't ever be afraid, to lead, and stop being apologetic as a professional, and stop being an ass kisser as a professional. It's not the job we do. It's not what we do, right? You want to be a court jester, find a king and get the job, right? This is leadership, right? So on that note, Aveen, you have the best background of the day. You get the 5 gold stars. The leopard print is kick-ass. I feel pathetic with my blue on my green screen, okay? All right, everybody, listen. Go out and practice this. When you hear Sam in a minute 38 building a relationship with a potential $2.6 million listing, I hope that was smelling salts that went right under your nose. She's following the yellow brick system of service. Follow the same thing. Stop making excuses. Stop not calling people. Stop snapping back when you pick up the phone. Respect them and treat them with the right professionalism, and the rest will follow your way too. And you'll be the next one that sends me a recording that was successful. Okay? See you on the other side. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Danny.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome.